Hello, Marksman520 here, and I'm bringing you some Rome Total War, and I have some plans here on what I'm going to do. Um, I have Rome Total War, I have all their expansions, Alexander and Barbarian Invasion. I also have Medieval 2 Total War, as well as the Kingdoms expansion and Empire and Napoleon Total War. Now, what I plan to do is play through almost each one. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how popular the series is. If I want to go more in depth, should I say? As of right now, I do not plan on going through Alexander because it's a very linear campaign. You only have one option to choose as a nation. You don't have multiple options, so there's only one route you can really go, and you can only play as Alexander the Great. And although that's kind of fun, I like to be able to choose at least some kind of choice as to who I want to play as. Now I only have 3 choices here, and that's because I think I had to reinstall it and it didn't save my save files or something. I've reinstalled games before and they kept save files, so I didn't have to restart. But for some odd reason my save files were not saved. So I only have the originals to choose from, and after you beat the campaign, you can play as a lot more nations. You can also edit there's a text file that you can edit so that you can play them without actually beating the campaign. I, however, do not really care to do that right now because I planned on playing as one of these 3 anyways. And here's the proposition, and essentially where I'm going to go from here is probably Barbarian Invasions, then Medieval 2, and then go to Kingdoms. And if you've ever played Kingdoms or you know about Kingdoms expansion, there's actually 4 separate campaigns. I'm probably not going to play all 4. I might play 2 of them. And they'd be by viewer request as the 2 most popular ones. But if there is no support for it, no viewers voting or telling me suggestions because there aren't enough viewers or nobody really cares, which is a possibility, then I'll just choose my favorite ones out of the 4. Which I only really have one favorite, so it's going to be a hard decision who gets second. I don't really like those campaigns too much. But anyways, and then from there we're going to go to Empire, if I can get it running, because my Empire, I have to uninstall a mod that I had that allows you to play as every single nation, and it's kind of bugged out as of late, and it won't let me know. Empire keeps crashing, so because I think something got messed up. I think I tried to delete it, but it didn't want to delete, and I deleted some files or something, and I'll just probably reinstall it. It's probably the best option is uninstall, reinstall. So I'll probably do that. And then we'll go to Napoleon, and what I plan to do is, if you've ever played Napoleon, you know there's several campaigns. There's Napoleon's campaigns, which is a campaign in Egypt, campaign in Italy, and you're playing as France the entire time. So you got Egypt campaign and Italian campaign, and then you got, I think, France versus the rest of Europe, basically. And then you got the Battle of Waterloo. You also have the Peninsular campaign, which is in the Spanish Peninsula when France invaded. And you can play as Great Britain, Spain, or France, I believe. And then there's also the coalition campaign, which is basically all the countries except all the major countries except France. So you can play as Prussia, you can play as Russia, you can play as the United Kingdom. Austria. I'm not really sure about how many others because I haven't really played that too much. So I'm probably going to play 1 or 2 of those campaigns. Probably my favorites. Definitely playing the Coalition when we get to that point, but then it's between, some of Napoleon's campaigns, some of the French campaigns, or the Peninsular campaign. I'll probably go with the Peninsular because with the Napoleon campaigns, the Italian, Egyptian, and I think the regular French one, once Napoleon becomes emperor, you kind of have to be France, but the Peninsula and the Coalition campaign gives you choices. You can be Spain, UK, and I believe you can also be France. And the Coalition, you can be, you know, Prussia, Russia, Austria, United Kingdom. So I'll probably do those two. If people want me to do the others, I'll try. They're kind of hard because you do have a time limit to get. You have to get to a certain goal within a certain time period, a historical time period. So, say with the Italian campaign, you got to conquer to a certain province. You got to conquer a certain province, which is all the way on the other side of the map. But you only have so many turns to do it. If you don't do it in that amount of time, the historical date, you fail. I'm not sure if it's a historical date, but it's a time limit. You got a time limit. So that makes it a lot harder, because if there was no time limit, it'd be fairly easy to smash through the Italian countries. So I'll do those if you know, you guys want me to. If popular demand demands it, I'll do them. I can't guarantee any success in any of these campaigns. I'm not even going to guarantee that I'll finish them. I'll try my best, but as you know, if you've ever played a Total War game campaign, they're pretty lengthy. Like hours and hours. So it's definitely worth the money. I mean, that's a good thing. It's worth the money. Because if you spend hours and hours playing a game, it's worth the cost. So we're gonna look at these, and they're essentially Roman Republic, but it's split off into 3 separate houses. You also have the SPQR, or the Senate, which controls this little central area. And you got the House of Julii up here. They're generally going to be fighting the Gauls up here. Then you got the House of Brute. They're generally going to be fighting the Macedonians and the Greeks. And then you got the House of Scipia, which are generally going to be fighting Carthage. But if you follow the Senate missions, like I usually do, because they're very beneficial, I've played, you know, you can get involved as the House of Julii. You can get involved in fighting Carthage, because the Senate kind of tells you, attack Carthage, declare war on Carthage, you know, take this province, blockade this port. So I'm not going to pick the House of Bruti, despite the fact that my favorite color is green. This is actually the very first time I played Rome Total War. This was the faction I picked, and you end up fighting mostly Greeks and Macedonians. And there's one thing that I hate the most about fighting is phalanx units, and essentially the long spearmen that kind of just have you feet away from them and just kind of drive their pikes. They're not pikes yet. They're like the earlier pikes. They're just long spears. There's probably an actual name, I don't know it. But I hate fighting those forces, so we're going to lay off Bruti, because I don't really like fighting those kind of troops. And Greece and Macedonia are full of them. I had that bad experience the first time I played. I hate fighting them. They're slow moving though, so you can easily outflank them, but if you're outnumbered, it makes it really hard, and you got to fight a lot of battles outnumbered. So we're going to take the House of Julii, because I feel very comfortable fighting the Gauls, because their forces, they don't have those kind of forces that I hate, absolutely hate. What's this? Oh, no. So I'm not going to manage all my settlements. I really don't do that. So let's start the game. This loading time doesn't take that long. We're going to cut the cinematic. So yes, I do plan on playing Barbarian Invasion. I haven't really set out in my mind who I want to play out of all these through all these campaigns. I haven't really set out who I want to play as. So that's open for voting. I'll take all suggestions into consideration. If you want me to play, you know, as the Franks in the Barbarian Invasion, or you want to play as Roman Empire, East-West, I'll do that. If you want to play as the Germanic tribes, it's fairly hard. That was actually my first one I ever played as, because I was pretty big into Germany. And it's one of the hardest tribes to play as. So here's our map here. We got a spy, a diplomat here. There's SPQR, which is the Senate. We have a couple ships here, I think. Yep, 2 biremes. And we got an army here. So what we're gonna do, we have actually 2 armies. So what we're going to do here is automate everything because I don't really care, and we're gonna cut spending. The reason why I cut spending is so we have money left over to recruit barbarians, because I rely heavily on barbarians. So we're actually gonna end our turn, I think. We're gonna combine these armies, I think. The Senate's probably going to tell us to attack this village. But you gotta wait a turn for that mission. I really want to get the mission before I actually do it, because you get a reward for it. And I'm going to do it anyways. So end our turn. And Gauls want trade rights, they can have it. We're probably going to be attacking them soon anyways, but there's no penalty for doing such. So we should have a mission. Where's our mission? Okay, if they're not going to send a mission, we're going to hit space so it goes faster, because I'm impatient. So we're going to end our turn there again. I'm hoping that they give us a mission to take that rebel village, and if not, they're not, so we're just going to go for it. Usually they give us a mission, so we're going to assault right off the bat, because they have no defenses, and we outnumber them greatly. Despite the fact that we have a huge number advantage, and we got a huge strength ratio, 9-to-1, we're going to fight this on the map, because I want to restrict casualties as much as possible. Show off combat a bit, at least in its first part. And I'm not really sure how I'm going to format it. I think right now I'm just going to record until I don't feel like recording anymore, and then I'm going to end it and probably go back and cut those into more manageable parts. That seems like the ideal thing to do right now. And I'm not going to cut the loading screens because they're really fast, but by the time we get into probably Medieval 2, I'll probably have to start cutting the end times off, because they start getting lengthy definitely by the time Empire comes around, because there's so many countries. Empire, probably going to have to cut that time. Maybe not Napoleon's, because I think that's fairly short. There aren't too many countries, because it's just Europe, whereas Empire's, you know, a good portion of the world. It's not the world, but it's a huge chunk of it, with a lot of small European countries. So we got our battle deployment here. And I think actually I'm going to take you 2. And I like to split my army up into 2. So we're going to send these guys over here. And we're going to group them together. You 2 are going to come over here. We're going to basically hit them from both sides. I think that's what I'm going to do here. So that you guys, want to set you up right here. Group. I know I don't use the hotkeys. I could, but I'm lazy. That doesn't make sense. If you're lazy, you use the hotkeys. So we're going to put a unit of velites over here. Try missile troops, if you did not know. I'm going to put them in loose formation. I like to put them in loose formation. They look scarier because there's a lot more of them. Or not a lot more. They're all spread out, though. So we got a unit of archers here, which I'm going to set to flaming arrows because they're better that way. And we're going to also spread them out. Spread them out nice and good. And then we got a unit of spearmen, Triarii. I'm going to put right here in this gap. And I know I like to spread my troops out wider than most people probably do. That's got its benefits in the sense that you can cover more ground, I guess, but that also means you can get broken through easier. But it also makes it harder to attack if you're a lot tighter in, because if you're fighting a wider group. Alright, so we want to actually, I'm going to group all these guys together, so I have my 2 separate forces. So essentially when you attack somebody who's spread out like that, with a more tighter grouped bunch of soldiers, you have a problem. because you can get overrun. I don't like my camera restricted. So if you attack and you don't have the width of your opponent, you can easily be overrun by the flanks. They can come around you and kind of flank you. Not by moving more soldiers, but just in general, you're going to like hit this central part, and then soldiers are going to be coming from your sides and kind of surrounding you and hitting your flank. So I'm going to try to minimize casualties as best as possible, but I'm not necessarily the greatest at that. So we're going to send our archers up first. And we're going to send our velites up as well. We're going to send them up to take like pot shots, kind of, at our opponents while we sit our armies back a little further. And once they move to attack them, which it will do eventually, we'll pull them back and possibly just rip them in the face. But I think we're going to send this unit around. And this unit. Actually, we're going to send our general around for a flank here. Are you not moving? It says you're not moving. You're not moving. I told you to move. Why aren't you moving? Fucking cocksucker, move! Sorry, rage moment. He was being an asshole. I don't know why I wasn't moving. But moving up our velites, we're moving up our archers here. And I'm not sure, I don't think they're in range. Nope. So we're going to actually have them attack. Because I don't... So one thing I hate about this game is it doesn't tell you the range of your missile troops. So you don't really necessarily know how far you have to go to be able to get into range without actually targeting them, or moving a lot closer than you really necessarily need to. Oh, I can't move up that dirt. I can't move up this grassy path. Are you serious? It's open area. Why are you moving around? Now you gotta run to make up time. This isn't going as smoothly as it should have. We haven't lost any soldiers. Look, they have pointy legs. Yeah. Low graphics for the win. I probably don't need low graphics, but with fraps running, I'm not taking too many chances. And I'd like this to run as smooth as possible. Because if you ever played with lag on a real-time strategy game like this, and not like Victoria 2, because Victoria 2, you can pause it, and you can pause this too, but, you know, you're actually losing soldiers if you mess up or if you don't see something. And Victoria 2, it's not necessarily as bad, but you can not see stuff, so they're charging out. Alright, we got our volley, and they're coming back. You gotta watch out with the missile troops, though. I hit run. Run! I had to charge my general in there. But they're not spearmen, so we're pretty good on that. We should be fairly good on that. Because they weren't spearmen, they were just light infantry, so we got our general over here. We're going to charge right into them. They're just peasants, they'll break easily, for certain. And their general is dead. And they're routing. So we'll send this unit, chase him down as well. We'll have everybody chase him down, actually. I don't care about casualties at this point in time because they are done. That was their only real force. They got these peasants right here, but they're going to rout pretty easily once my general rips them in the face. Cavalry is very important in this time period, and it's fairly important in all Total War games, really. Oh, you guys need to continue, though. Not my archers. I targeted my archers. Oh, please don't. Please don't attack. They're going to just kill our own soldiers. You got to watch out with missile troops, because there is friendly fire. So we're just going to end it. Oh, if it wasn't rebels, we wouldn't end it. And we lost 25 soldiers. So that wasn't too bad. It was a little more than that.